Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to my speech. My name is Dupras. Tonight we'll be discussing why you should get enough sleep. It's a very important topic. All of us spend about a third of our day getting sleep, or you should be, and that's what this presentation is about. Let's get started. We're going to start by discussing the ideal amount of sleep. Now, the ideal amount of sleep and your age are actually opposites. So the younger you are, the more sleep you're going to need. And that can be seen here in this graph. So newborns, 0 to 3 months, require 14 to 17 hours of sleep a day, whereas an older adult over the age of 65 may only require 7 to 8 hours a day. Again, children require much more sleep during their formative years, but that does begin to slowly decline as they get older. The average amount of sleep recommended for adults is going to be about 8 hours. I know most people get less than that, which brings me to my next point, which is realistically, how much sleep are we actually getting? It is extremely common for people to get less sleep than recommended. Statistically, probably everyone gets less sleep than recommended based off of the last graph that we saw. Many children get far less sleep than suggested. That can be shown in this graph here. 3 to 5 year olds on average are getting about 9.7 hours of sleep compared to the 10 to 12 hours of sleep that they are required to get. As you get further along in the chart, 15 to 18 year olds are only getting 7.4. Now we know that adults are required to get 8 hours, so already they're behind the curve. And college students, because that relates most to all of us, get an average of 6 hours of sleep a night. And that's because of studying and tests and other extracurricular activities. Which leads us to our problems of not getting enough sleep. Our first problem that we run into is a mental issue. Not getting enough sleep can affect your cognitive performance, whether that's taking a test and not performing well enough, or giving a presentation and getting foggy brains and not doing well. In some extreme cases, in people that work long shift hours, whether that be a night nurse, a firefighter, police officer, something like that, can actually present the same symptoms as being under the impairment of alcohol. So being awake for 17 hours straight equates to about a 0.05 blood alcohol content. Now the legal limit is 0.08. If you reach out to 24 hours, you are now over the legal limit, which is you are now at 0.10 BAC, which again, the legal limit is 0.08. So if a cop actually pulls you over, you can actually be considered driving under the influence just from not having enough sleep. Now our next problem is a more physical problem. This can be seen particularly in collegiate athletes. It can affect all physical performance, but especially it can decrease your muscle strength. So if you have a bad night of sleep, you go into the gym, you may not be able to perform as well as you have in the past. What it can also do is it can lead to systemic inflation. Now what that means is your entire body essentially is inflamed, which can lead to cramping, fatigue, soreness, and actually decreased recovery time. Now, recovery time is obviously very important in your physical ventures, so getting enough sleep is crucial for that. Leads us to our last problem, which is your immune health. It does affect your immune memory, so if you get sick and your body fights something off, if you're not getting enough sleep, the next time you get that same sickness, your body may not be able to identify that threat quite as easily. So it may take a little bit longer for you to heal, which is one of the reasons why our body naturally forces us to sleep when we get sick. It also affects our adaptive immunity, which can be seen with vaccine efficacy. Essentially what that means is if you get a vaccine and you're not getting enough sleep, your body may not take that vaccine as well as it could be if you are getting enough sleep. Now, the short-term risks of lack of sleep is essentially just increased risk of infection. You may notice that if you get sick, often you're probably not getting very much sleep. The long-term effects have been linked to increased risk of heart disease and diabetes. So again, sleep is very important. Now, all of that sounds terrible, but there are solutions to getting more sleep. And the simple solution is just to get more sleep. Now, it's easier said than done, because obviously we would all love to get more sleep, but we have busy lives, we have hectic schedules, we like to play on our phone. So there are some sleep tips here to help you, optimize your sleep schedule. The best thing to do is to create a routine, whether that's have tea every night before you get ready for bed, or take a warm shower 2 hours before you lay down. One of the most critical things, and this is a terrible habit that we all have, is reducing your screen time. The more time you spend on your phone, the less you're going to be inclined to go to sleep, because that actually tricks your brain into thinking that's part of the daytime, and that throws off your rhythm. Now, to wrap it all up, our initial problems that we covered were mental fatigue, again, your cognitive function, things like that. Your physical fatigue, if you want to be strong, you're going to need rest, you're going to need your body to recover, and your weakened immune system. Again, if you're healthy, you're probably getting enough sleep. If you're unhealthy, lack of sleep would definitely be a contributing factor. The solution, again, is just sleep, sleep, and more sleep. And whether that means you have to crack down and make a good routine, or find some way to get yourself to sleep, that's critical. So remember, the better you sleep, the better your body will perform. So I want you guys to use this information and get sufficient sleep to improve your life. Thank you for coming to my speech tonight. You guys have a wonderful evening.